Hey everyone, my name is Wedge. With the next limited edition Magic the Gathering set Eternal Masters announced, players are clamoring for reprints all over the place. It makes sense. Magic is more expensive than ever, and if we're being honest, there are a ton of cards that need to be reprinted. In our next two videos, we're going to count down the top 10 best commons and uncommons to reprint in Eternal Masters. If you enjoy top 10 lists and want more of them, please hit the like button. It means a lot. Now remember, Eternal Masters is a limited print run set that is designed for Vintage, Legacy, Commander, and Cube formats, so you can expect a lot of the cards in the set are going to help those formats out. Also, there won't be any reserve list cards reprinted, which means no dual lands, no underground seas, no dual lands, and no tropical islands. I hope that's straightforward enough for you. Without further ado, let's begin. Just remember, again, this is about the cards that need reprinting the most and not your own personal favorite pet card. You'll see what I mean in a second. Let's do this thing. We'll begin with the honorable mentions. There are actually 4 of them this time. Let's start with Shardless Agent and Heritage Druid. Shardless Agent has only had one printing ever, and it was in Plain Chase, not even a real set. Boasting an almost $20 price tag, you can bet that a lot of players want this reprinted. I don't blame them. The problem, an Eternal play only sees play in one deck, Shardless Bug, its namesake. Now don't get me wrong, $20 uncommons give me heartburn, but there's no way you can justify this card in the top 10 when it's only really played in one deck. We're talking about cards that have the most universal impact here. Agent is sweet, but impact is low comparably. The same could be said for Heritage Druid, another uncommon over $10 and only with one printing. I can see why. It's one of the better staples in the Legacy and Modern Elves deck. The card is great. Should it be reprinted? Yes, of course. Does it need to be reprinted to save Legacy? No. It's only in one deck. Hopefully it comes back, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Those 2 cards we just talked about weren't on the list because they were too narrow. These next 2 aren't on the list because they're legitimately numbers 11 and 12. Lotus Petal and Lightning Bolt. Lotus Petal is in more Legacy strategies than I can count, and it sees play in Vintage. While it is hanging around $4, this is a perfect card to reprint at a lower rarity to put some value in bulk. Sets like this live or die by their uncommons and commons. Modern Masters 2 did not do well to a lot of people because of the lack of good uncommons/commons. Lotus Petal is a wonderful target, it's widely played, fits into almost anything, and it would be cool to get a foil version that isn't this one. Yeah, that would be nice. Lightning Bolt is basically number 11 because no matter how many times you print this card, it refuses to go down in value. With a billion printings, this card is still over $2. Now, while it isn't the most popular Vintage card or even Legacy card, it does see extensive play in Cube decks and Commander strategies. Remember, the set is supposed to support those. Lightning Bolt is an all-around great card and could really help buff up the value of the common slot in the set. Time to get to the actual list. Now, making this was really difficult because some of the commons/uncommons that are widely used in Vintage or Legacy are actually not that expensive, i.e. Brainstorm. With that in mind, I think it would be a good opportunity for Wizards to reprint some cards that are way too much money, but would also be beneficial to Commander and Cube players. Number 10 is Serum Visions, and number 9 is Path to Exile. Do these cards see extensive Vintage and Legacy play? No. Do they see Commander and Cube play? Yes. Reprinting them is a great idea. While these 2 cards don't scream Eternal Masters, we're talking about a wonderful opportunity to really nuke some modern staples while giving easier access to casual players. It's a win-win. It's time for a real Serum Visions reprint. It's gotta be now. Coming in at number 8 is Rhystic Study, a huge nod to Commander players. This study is a card some of you have probably never seen, but it's one of the most popular blue cards in all of Commander, and more recently, Pauper Tron decks, which is cool. Anyways, the Prophecy common is around $4 right now, and I don't see why I can't see a reprint here. This is Eternal Masters. Rhystic Study is annoying and potentially broken, but if we're not going to print the potentially broken cards here, then where are we going to print them? It's clear Commander is a huge part of Magic now. If you're going to release a set and say that you have Commander in mind, you should print some staples. Rhystic Study, a great staple that could help your common slot value pool. Number 7 is a card that has definitely flown under a lot of players' radars. Relic of Progenitus really needs a reprint. After its recent spike thanks to Modern, its now $5 price tag is just too much. It's a staple in Legacy and Commander, so the reprint would be well received. Granted, it is played a ton of both Pauper and Modern as well, that's just extra value at this point. I think the Relic would make a sweet common or uncommon reprint. Preferably common, of course, but we can't always get what we want now, can we? Number 6 is Dryad Arbor. I considered moving this card lower in the rankings, but its recent price creep over the last few months has me worried. A card this useful in Legacy shouldn't just have one real printing and then they're from the vault. Plus, it's from Future Sight, one of the most difficult sets to get nowadays. Of course, besides its extensive play in Elves, Loam strategies, and most rogue green decks in Legacy, Dryad Arbor has a clear home in Modern. Not saying they should use Modern to influence Eternal Masters, but it is a nice bonus. Again, this would be a great card to help increase the uncommon slot value. Well, that's going to do it for part 1 of our top 10 best commons/uncommons to reprint in Eternal Masters. What do you think is going to be in the top 5? This could be fun. Predict your top 5 cards in the comments below, and we'll see who gets closest to guessing right. There are still a few cards some of you probably forgot about. Tune in later today to see if you're right. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. This video is brought to you by TCGplayer.com, the cheapest place to get all these hopeful Eternal Masters reprints. Right now, you can grab Dryad Arbor for as low as $11. That's crazy cheap considering how hard they are to find. Land creatures not your speed? How about some good old-fashioned lightning bolts? $2 each. Right now, you might as well buy your playset. This card is never going down, ever.